Okay, so if you're having issues playing your CDs, this is the part you're going to have to replace. This is up. This is flipped over. It's flipped over. I'm just showing this how this is positioned, how it goes in here, and you gotta use these two little plastic enclosures and loop it correctly and put it and situate it the way it's supposed to be. Then you have this little screw right here, so you gotta make sure you follow the same pattern when you put it back in place and you assemble it back in place. So make sure you take before and after photos. So this is what you have to do if your CDJ is not playing correctly. You have to change the main CD laser enclosure, which the part is right here, and the provider gave me 2 screws. So this is what I'm looking at right now. So I'm assuming it goes like this in reverse then. So that's how it's situated in. Anyways, continue the build. Let's go forward with the build. Okay, so look how complicated this guy looks. Look at that little main blue eye laser. So I'm assuming this area is where the problematic area begins. So luckily I have the spare part. It's a good working order, I know that much, and we're gonna go ahead and plug and play. It does look complicated, so be careful when you do this assembly procedure. So try to emulate it to its full knowledge. This is original assembly right here, but it's flipped over and you're flipped upside down. So we're gonna try to put it back in. More likely, I might have to take everything apart, which is what I did not want to do, but I have no choice. Let's go forward with the build. Okay, so remember this is how it's situated. So now we're gonna have to take this off and put the replacement part. This is a little bit complicated because this thing popped out from the top of the surface mount. So this guy has to go a certain way, and then it's being held by these little pins right here, these little tabs, by resistance. Let's continue forward with the build. Okay, so after carefully analyzing the part, the problematic area was this little plastic tab that holds this piece of metal. This thing was over the little twisted rod, and it has to be situated correctly, so that's the reason why I wouldn't go past the number 7. I think each one of these threads is a number 1, next sequence thereafter. For instance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get the point what I'm making. So there's probably about 20 something individual sequences, or probably even up to 30, because it keeps going. So I think that's the problematic issue. It actually is solved. There was no need to change this part, but it's very complicated, so you have to be careful. Because I also realized that on this side, on the left side of this little pin where I'm pointing at with the screwdriver, the skinny screwdriver, this thing is a little bit broken. Unless if I put super glue, that's what I'm gonna do right now. Or if I could twist it with thin, see-through, white clear tape. But I'm gonna probably put it. I'm probably gonna use a pen, an additional piece of metal flathead, and put the little super glue right here. Or I might not just do it. But this was the issue. This thing was over the thing, so it has to be situated right. It's like a sequence 1, sequence 2, sequence 3, sequence 4, sequence 5, and I could see it adding up to probably up to 30 up here. So that's what the problem was. And here's the original part, and if you can see the schematic, you can see how it's situated. This thing will come apart, so you gotta make sure it's correct. And this is the replacement part. There was no need for me to put it. I was gonna do it until I just realized from analyzing the item, I could tell the problem just by looking at it. So just make sure you pay attention and you take before and after photos so you can know how everything goes back together. Tune in. Okay, so looks like everything's solved. Now I'm able to go through every sequence. There is one drawback. I'm gonna explain that right now. But notice how now it does play each track. Look, I'm able to scroll into each sequence with each individual track, each different song. Because before it goes, it will become stuck at number 7, 8, 9, 10, and so forth. See, as you can tell, it's playing every single track. Now I could sample. I could go back
into my little sampler and start sampling my ass off.
So this has been a solved equation. This is a procedure that's been solved. So now I place every single track correctly, and there was no issue with the laser, which I suspected. So at least I have an additional spare part. See, and it stops at 10 because this album only has 10 individual tracks, if I'm not mistaken. And we'll verify that just now by looking at the back panel of this CD album, and it turns out it is 10 individual tracks. So it's been solved, because I knew that these CD players are very famous for playing very scratched up CDs very well. The laser is very extraordinary, and I highly recommend this as opposed to Denon, the other competitor of Pioneer, which they have equal sound output. So they're the same sound output, the same, I guess you can say, algorithmic sound card were built into the motherboard. The same chip produces the same algorithm because they have the same output. The only difference is that Denon is not able to read very scratched up CDs, whereas Pioneer will read even the most severe scratched up CDs you ever encounter or have, which a lot of people have. A lot of them. The only issue I'm seeing with this is that it is making a lot of sound, which is annoying, but other than that, it's still playing the music. I mean, this is an old CD player, so I can't really complain. I mean, I took it from parts just to build it. The only other issues it has is that this is stuck, but it does play. Both of these buttons play correctly. They just need to be addressed, and I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm not even gonna mess with that, although I'll have the parts to do that. See, because this CD, I don't know if you can see it, the CD does have scratches. I mean, but overall it's in good condition. So it's been solved. And I put the replacement part here because there was no need to use it. And maybe in the future I'll change it, but it's on complicated level. I'll say it's like from 8 to 10 to change it. So only go forward if you're familiar with how every part goes and you're able to put it correctly. So it goes back to what I was saying, that the issue was solved by just looking at this, at the little tab, the plastic tab. It shows you the schematic, how it's supposed to be. Luckily, the guy sent it to me correctly, and during shipment, it didn't get out of position. So it's in there. I can't really show it too much. It's right there. Look, there it goes. That little tab, that little plastic tab with the metal enclosure in, has to be sitting like that to play each sequence, and that was correct. Each of those threads represents one song, so I was correct in my thoughts and in my calculations. See, so it's been solved. There's no CD in here. It works. Everything works in here except the jog wheel. So I gotta fix this and also this and this. But these work. They're just like, they don't make the click. They're like, they feel zoomed in, stuck. But everything works. The beat loop. The sampling works. The beat loop in and out. You can use those as sampling too. You could use this as a sampler. And you could have total control too if you want to slow the sample down. But just remember, it's going to keep repeating, and you can record that into your sequencer. In fact, I'm going to do that, a strategy in doing deep house techniques and making sample deep house music, which is this tutorial is about. Besides tackling down the main problem, why it will become stuck at 7 through 10 in different CD albums that I was putting in. I was blaming the CDs being severely scratched, and no, it was that. So it's been solved. Let's go ahead and shut this off and take a break and see if we can get some food in our system. Tune in.